As we watch the Japanese currency continue to weaken, we're looking at levels of 24-year lows. The Japanese market is contending with a couple of issues, and with the absence of Abe now, Kishida has he's managed to consolidate his power. What do you think he's going to be doing in terms of his policies going ahead? Will he be able to manage out what Abe didn't get done, or is he going to be doing his own policies?
That's a very good question. I think the events last week were definitely unexpected, and they do change the view on Japan going forward. I think it was definitely a very meaningful election result on Saturday. LDP now has a majority, comfortable enough that they are able to implement changes to their pacifist constitution. Kishida, of course, represents, he's a centrist candidate, so he represents the more centrist view within the party. However, with Abe's passing, there is a power vacuum, and it is likely that we will see a shift right in Japanese politics as Kishida tries to capture more of that ultra-conservative support base within the LDP. So the way that we are viewing it is the likelihood that Japanese foreign policy will become more hawkish has increased. And in exchange for that change to the constitution, the likelihood that Japanese monetary policy will become less dovish or tighter has also increased. So we are looking at potentially some revisions to that yield curve control target. In terms of timing, a lot of it will depend on the conversation surrounding domestic inflation in Japan, which is, of course, increasing, especially if you consider high food and energy prices. Clearly, Bank of Japan has a more nuanced view. They like to look at core inflation, but Japanese households still have to pay for transportation and food prices regardless. So depending on how inflation pans out in the coming months, it could be as soon as the end of this year, in the fourth quarter, or we might look at a more gradual pace of adjustment in 2023, but definitely an increase in the likelihood that might happen in Japan going forward.